So the reason I'm making this video, I want to tell you about what really goes on. So if my friend actually goes ahead on an H-1B, they are in the US, they studied, now they are basically in the race for an H-1B, and let's say they get it also. What I see over here sitting in India is that they have all these fancy cars, they have big house, extremely big houses that they're buying, even in expensive areas in the US. They're able to basically work for one of the best employers in the whole world. And those perks are what I see, and that makes me think that, hey, this person is so successful, they're sending money to their family, there's this going on, they have all kinds of money now, maybe I should also go for it. But what is actually hidden by all of these things, these materialistic things, is a lot of trauma almost that people are going through, which is just not made public. And today we're going to talk a little bit about that. We've been doing this for about 5 years. I've seen hundreds, not even hundreds, thousands of people go, and I've seen what truly happens. And in this video, I'm going to be discussing all of that with you guys.
So what I hear a lot about is that H-1B applicants are being exploited by their employers. Perhaps you can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so exploitation is real, guys. So as an H-1B employee, think of yourself like you are in the feet, essentially in the shoes of that person. Let's say you are walking in the race for H-1B. First off, you want an H-1B, you don't have it, let's say. Getting one is not easy, right? It's a lottery system. So what you do is you work your ass off. You work long hours, you work extremely overtime, almost on a daily basis, right? On top of that, you work with lesser pay than many of the Americans that they hire. And the reason for that is you need that H-1B so badly. You've spent so much at this time, you studied first, now you're going for an H-1B. You need to get that H-1B to be able to continue gaining that return on your investment that's required. So the employers themselves have higher expectations from the H-1B candidates. They sometimes even treat them badly. I've seen employers being abusive with such candidates.
Yeah.
And yet, these candidates continue to work simply because they want to maintain that imaginative view, essentially, almost back in their home, that yes, this person is successful, they have these cars, they have this, they have that, right? They want to maintain that image. And for that, they will take anything, essentially, from the employer. So about twice as much work in the company is done by, let's say, an H-1B candidate, and the American employee is just sitting there, not really doing much as compared to the H-1B candidate. They're basically chill at their job. They know they'll get money easily, right? However, when it comes to the H-1B employees, they're working much, much harder.
Exactly. And in my opinion, it's quite unfair. But also next to that, there's a lot of lack of stability. People are putting their lives on hold, and for example, they're waiting with getting children or even getting married and making the next steps in their lives. And I just think that's very disgenuine.
What you said is true, because what happens is, even when you have an H-1B, even then, there is no stability until you get your green card. Let's say, because again, to basically get a green card, you need to wait 6 years on H-1B. And after that, only you can apply for a green card. No, that is also, by the way, employer-driven. So if the employer decides, they will apply. If they don't decide, they will not apply. On top of that, even for renewal, after 3 years, you have to renew it. At that point, sometimes what happens is USCIS comes back to you asking for RFEs, requests for evidence that, okay, why should you actually be continued given with this H-1B, right? Why don't they need someone else? Why don't they hire some American citizen, right? So all of these things come into the picture, which truly hold down your life, whether it's marriage, kids, buying houses. You don't really know if you are in a stable position to do that. And hence, life can be very difficult for those 6-7 years. It's a long time that we're talking about.
Exactly. It's extremely stressful. People are having a lot of anxiety due to that. I've seen people having these high stacks of paperwork just for being on the H-1B, not even a green card. So it's a very difficult scenario, and I feel like people are putting their lives on hold in a way.
Yeah, but keep in mind that this video is not to say that H-1B is all bad. There's many good things you will get out of it. It's an amazing thing to do if you're doing it. You just need to have that mental strength, that well-being up there, that you will be able to handle all this stress. It is an amazing thing. I have seen people rise out of slums here in this country and go up towards basically buying big apartments for their families here. It is an amazing thing. So the purpose of this video is not to derail people from that path. It's to create awareness that this is something that happens it's not all a bed of roses essentially that you just go over there, lie on it, and you have everything put together on your life. You have to really work hard for it. That is just how it is.
That's how the United States works. You have to work hard for your dreams. It's not just a cakewalk. As soon as you get your visa and you enter the United States, everything's all right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not the case.
Yeah. Another thing I want to talk to you guys about is the 6-year-long anxiousness. You ever felt anxious? You're worried about something. Something's going on. You are very worried. You just can't get your mind off of it. Imagine that for 6 years straight. That is going on in the mind of a student who wants an H-1B or a green card after that. That is a continual thing that they just learn to live with. They just try to, push it behind the curtain, but it's still always there in the background. In the background of their mind, they're always scared about that, right? And the reason for that is that, again, they can't change employers very easily. Let's say if your employer has applied for an H-1B and, the, H-1B is not approved yet, right? It's a lottery system at the end of the day, right? And you change jobs at that point. The new employer has to file a whole new H-1B application. So there are things like that. So your growth is certainly stunted because you can't even change employers very easily. And, of course, that's important for growth in today's day and age. But those things are really stunting the growth of these candidates as well.
Exactly.
On top of that, what also happens is that these people are scared of layoffs and everything that's going in the US right now. If they lose their job, they don't have any chance after that. They have to pack their bags, go back home. They lose their position in the green card line. They lose their position in the H-1B line.
Exactly.
Everything's done with. They basically have to just stop being in the US right from then. If they have a house, they need to sell it and go back, which is extremely unfair because they've built a life for themselves over there over the last couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. So now you must be thinking, is there another alternative to the H-1B? Simply because it's quite stressful. Is there some sort of backup? And there is actually, and it's the O1 visa, and I think you can tell a little bit more about that.
Yeah, the O1 visa is absolutely a very good backup for these people to have, essentially because of the perks it has over the H-1B. And I want to talk a little bit about that. So I would personally say that O1 is better than the H-1B in most cases. And the reasons for that, there's a couple of reasons I want to detail over here. So the first biggest reason is that you won't have to worry about being dependent on any one employer. You don't have to worry about, okay, is this employer gonna fire me? What do I have to do in such a scenario? If you have the O1, which is basically a better visa than the H-1B, it's still a non-immigrant visa, but it has a pathway to the green card. And what that essentially means is that you can even set up your own company, hire yourself through that company, and then you can continue to stay unlimited in the US basically. That is so much of a relief because you don't need to basically go ahead, lick the boots of the employer over there just to make sure that he's satisfied with you at all times.
Exactly. It is a lot less stressful because you're not dependent on the employer. You don't want to be independent on the employer because you want to just be like every other employee. Right?
Yeah, and you're safe in that aspect. That's essentially a safety net for you. There's no cap. It's unlike the H-1B, there's no set number of visas that are given out every year. So you don't need to worry that, okay, will I be picked or not? There's no lottery system. It is truly, I would say, merit-based. If you have the merit, you get it. Otherwise, you don't get it. And we're going to talk about the eligibility in a bit. But the most important part over here are the perks that you need to understand. And one of the biggest perks is that you are allowed to work for multiple employers concurrently. So you can have your company and your company can actually get you the O1 visa, your own company.
Yeah.
And through that, essentially, you can work for multiple employers in parallel if you want. So even if you want to work for just one employer, right, you can still be employed by your own company and that employer. So you are safe. No one's going to kick you out of the country all of a sudden. The visa is given for 3 years initially, just like the H-1B, and after that, every year you can get an extension. And it is extended unlimited number of times. As much as you want, you can extend it. There's no rules around it. It is dual intent. You can get a green card after that. So there's no issues on that front as well. In fact, the day you have the O1 visa in your hands, same exact day you can start your EB1 green card application.
Yep.
And the requirements for the EB1 are exactly what they are for the O1. How cool is that? So what you've already proved to the USCIS, you just need to prove it one more time. This time there may be more rigorous checking, but those exact requirements need to be fulfilled with that you'll get your EB1 green card as well.
So let's talk about the eligibility in that case for the O1 visa to understand what exactly is required as a backup for the H-1B.
Yeah, how do you get the O1 visa essentially,
Yeah.
right? So I don't want to make this video too long, guys, but I hope that you guys got a good enough understanding from it as to how you need to move forward to protect yourself against certain things that these H-1B applicants are suffering from. Now, if you want to know exactly how, step by step, and no one's made this publicly and given this exact pathway, but we have given it, through which actually hundreds of people last year also we processed successfully for the O1 visa, and some hundreds of them are currently in the pipeline as well. The way to get it would be explained in this video. You can check it out. We've talked about it in depth, right? And we discuss everything, every single part of the process. And within those 15 minutes, I think 15-minute video, you will understand exactly what to move forward, exactly how to apply. There's nothing literally that's left out.
Exactly. So go watch the video. It's linked in the description down below.
And I hope that you enjoyed this video. Make sure that you share it with the people who need to know. And of course, subscribe to the channel and follow us on Instagram for more such content. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye and take care.